She used to dance under stadium lights. Thousands watched Elena's feet paint stories across the stage. Now those same feet lay motionless beneath white hospital sheets. The accident took everything in one brutal second. A drunk driver, a shattered spine. Doctors spoke in careful tones about percentages and probabilities. Her father, a wealthy businessman, flew in specialists from 3 continents. Each one examined her charts, shook their heads, prescribed expensive therapies. None of it worked. Elena stared at the ceiling. The world had become a gray fog, thick and suffocating. She couldn't see through it anymore. Days blurred into weeks. Her father's gold watch gleamed on the bedside table, a reminder that money couldn't buy what she'd lost. He'd spent hundreds of thousands. She remained frozen. The nurses moved around her like ghosts. Elena pushed away their kindness with silence. What was the point? She'd never dance again. Never feel the floor beneath her feet. Never be herself. Then Marcus arrived. He wasn't a doctor. He was a janitor, assigned to clean her room each evening. Older, with weathered hands and quiet eyes. He didn't speak much at first, just cleaned. But he hummed while he worked. Old melodies that reminded Elena of childhood. One evening, he paused by her window. "The sunset's beautiful tonight," he said softly. "Orange and pink, like fire meeting water." Elena didn't respond. Couldn't. The gray fog was too thick. But Marcus returned the next night. And the next. Each time, he described something small. The way rain sounded on the glass. How the oak tree outside was budding. The smell of fresh coffee from the nurse's station. "Why do you tell me these things?" Elena finally asked, her voice rough from disuse. Marcus smiled. "Because the body doesn't learn to walk again. The spirit learns to trust the world." The words hung in the air. Strange. Meaningless. Elena turned away. Yet something shifted. Barely noticeable. Like the first crack in ice. Marcus began bringing small things. A flower from the hospital garden. A smooth stone. "Feel the texture," he'd say, placing it in her palm. "Notice the weight." Elena's fingers closed around the stone. Cool. Solid. Real. The physical therapy sessions were torture. Elena's body refused to cooperate. Her legs felt like dead weight. The therapists were professional, encouraging, but their eyes held doubt. After each session, Elena retreated into darkness. The gray fog thickened. But Marcus was there in the evenings. He never pushed, never demanded progress. He just sat beside her bed and talked about simple things. His grandson's first steps, the way bread smelled when baking, how birds sang differently at dawn. "I can't do this," Elena whispered one night, tears streaming down her face. "I'm broken." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he took her hand. His palm was rough, calloused from years of work. "You're not broken, you're changing. There's a difference." Something in his voice reached through the fog. Elena squeezed his hand back. It was the first time she'd initiated touch since the accident. The next morning, during therapy, Elena tried. Really tried. Not because she believed she'd walk again, but because Marcus believed she could feel again. Her leg moved. Just an inch. The therapist gasped. Elena cried. Progress came in fragments. A toe wiggling. A knee bending slightly. Each tiny victory was followed by setbacks. Days when nothing worked. When the gray fog threatened to swallow her whole. But Marcus kept coming. Kept describing the world. Kept reminding her that life existed beyond the fog. "Tell me about dancing," he said one evening. Elena hesitated. Talking about dance felt like touching an open wound. But Marcus waited patiently. So she began. Slowly at first, then faster. The feeling of flying across the stage. The music vibrating through her bones. The perfect moment when movement became prayer. As she spoke, something unlocked inside her chest. The fog thinned. Just a little. You can still dance, Marcus said quietly. Maybe not the same way, but your spirit hasn't forgotten how. Elena wanted to argue, to list all the reasons why he was wrong. But the words wouldn't come. Because somewhere deep inside, beneath the pain and fear, a tiny spark flickered. Weeks passed. Elena's father watched the slow progress with confusion. His expensive specialists had accomplished nothing. This janitor, with no medical training, had somehow reached his daughter. He didn't understand, but he saw the light returning to Elena's eyes. One evening, the head therapist stopped by Elena's room. She'd been skeptical of Marcus's involvement, concerned about unprofessional interference, but she couldn't deny the results. "Whatever you're doing," she told Elena, "keep doing it." Marcus smiled from his corner. He was polishing the window, making it shine. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday. Elena was in therapy, struggling through exercises. The fog pressed close, whispering failure. Then she remembered Marcus's words. Not about walking, about trusting. She closed her eyes, felt the therapist's hands supporting her, felt the floor beneath her feet, felt the weight of her own body. And for the first time since the accident, she didn't fight it. She trusted. Her right foot lifted, moved forward, set down. Her left foot followed. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. The therapist's hands fell away. Elena stood alone, swaying, trembling, but standing. The gray fog shattered. Light poured through. Elena gasped. The world came rushing back. Colors, sounds, sensations, everything she'd locked away. She took another step, then another. Tears blurred her vision, but she kept moving. The therapist was crying too, calling for others to come see. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Elena looked at him, really looked, and understood. He hadn't taught her to walk. He'd taught her to live again. That evening, Elena's room filled with people. Her father, the doctors, the nurses, the therapists, everyone who'd watched her journey. They gathered around as Elena stood by her bed, supported by a walker but standing. The head therapist, the one who doubted, stepped forward. Her eyes were wet. "I've been doing this for 20 years, she said. "I've never seen anything like it." Sometimes the simplest approach holds the most power. Elena's father picked up his gold watch from the bedside table. He looked at it for a long moment, then set it down. "Thank you," he said to Marcus, "for giving me my daughter back." Marcus just nodded. His work here was done. Elena took a breath. The words came from somewhere deep and true. "I'm alive again." The room fell silent. Everyone felt it. The weight of those words. The journey they represented. From darkness to light. From despair to hope. Later, after everyone left, Elena stood by the window. The sunset painted the sky in brilliant colors, orange and pink, fire meeting water, just like Marcus had described months ago. She could see it now, feel it. The world was beautiful again, and she was part of it. The human heart, she realized, holds more healing power than any medicine. Sometimes all we need is someone to remind us we're still here, still breathing, still capable of wonder. That simple truth had saved her life.